Burke's the butcher, Hare's the thief, Knox the boy that buys the beef. Burke and Hare, 1827-28. In context. Location, Edinburgh, Scotland, UK. Theme, bodysnatching and multiple murder. Before. November 1825. Thomas Tweed, a body snatcher, is captured by a sentry in Dublin, Ireland, in possession of 5 bodies and with his pockets full of sets of teeth. After. November 7, 1876. A gang of counterfeiters breaks into Oak Ridge Cemetery in Springfield, Illinois to steal President Lincoln's body and hold it for $200,000, about more than $5 million today, ransom. The plot is foiled by a Secret Service agent posing as a member of the gang. A pair of Irish immigrants became unlikely grave robbers and ultimately killers in 19th century Scotland when greed got the better of them. William Burke and William Hare worked as laborers in Edinburgh, where they met in 1827 after Burke and his companion, Helen McDougall, moved into a lodging house in Edinburgh run by Hare and his wife Margaret. While an elderly lodger died of natural causes and still owed rent, Burke and Hare sneaked into the cemetery, dug up his coffin, snatched his body, and carried it in a tea chest. Edinburgh University's medical school, Dr. Robert Knox, a popular anatomy lecturer who urgently needed corpses for dissection lessons, paid them €7 and 10 shillings, about $1,000 today for the body. A unique business idea. Inspired by their success, the pair repeated it again and again, robbing newly buried coffins and selling the cadavers to Knox. They soon tired of digging up graves in the middle of the night. So, in 1827, when a lodger became ill, Burke expedited the man's demise by covering his mouth and nose while forcibly restraining him, a smothering technique that became known as burking. That first murder was the start of the duo's killing spree, targeting strays and prostitutes in the streets of Edinburgh. Their modus operandi involved plying a victim with drunk until they fell asleep. Then Burke smothered them with using his unique technique. They loaded the body into a tea chest and transported it at night to Dr. Knox's surgery. They received about €7 to €10, about $950 for each body. Burke and Hare got away with murder for 11 months until the body of Irish woman Margaret Dougherty was discovered by 2 guests at Hare's boarding house, Anne and James Gray. The Grays notified the police, and an inquiry led them to Dr. Knox. Dougherty's body had since been moved to the University Lecture Hall, which had become Knox's dissecting theater. After a newspaper reported the finger at Burke and Hare, there was a public outcry for their prosecution. William Burke, William Hare, Helen McDougall, and Margaret Hare were all arrested by police shortly afterward and charged with murder. Knox was questioned by police but was not arrested as he had not technically broken the law. Every man for himself. Requiring more evidence for a conviction, the court's Lord Advocate attempted to extract a confession from one of the 4, and he chose Hare. He was offered immunity from prosecution and testified that Burke had committed the murders. Burke was subsequently convicted of 3 murders, and on January 28, 1829, hanged in front of a cheering crowd numbering up to 25,000. People were said to have paid up to €110 today for a good view overlooking the scaffold. Burke's body was publicly dissected by Knox's rival Dr. Monroe at the Anatomy Theater of Edinburgh University's Old College, attracting so many spectators that a minor riot occurred. His skeleton was later donated to Edinburgh Medical School. Hare, although he confessed to being an accomplice, was freed and fled to England. With his reputation in tatters, Knox moved to London to try to revive his medical career. In all, Burke and Hare killed 16 victims in what became known as the Westport murders. The murders led to the passing of the Anatomy Act 1832, which increased the supply of legal cadavers by authorizing the dissection of unclaimed bodies from workhouses after 48 hours. This proved effective in reducing cases of body snatching. I am sure that in the whole history of the country nothing has ever been exhibited that is in any respect parallel to this case. Lord Meadowbank. Diagnosing psychopathy. The Hare psychopathy checklist, named after Canadian psychologist Robert Hare, is a diagnostic tool used to identify a person's psychopathic tendencies. Originally designed to assess people accused of crimes, it is a 20-item inventory of personality traits assessed primarily via an interview. The subject receives a score for each trait depending on how well each one applies to them. The traits include lack of remorse, lack of empathy, inability to accept responsibility for actions, impulsivity, and pathological tendency toward lying. When psychopaths commit crimes, it is likely that their acts are purposeful. The motives of psychopathic killers often involve power of sadistic gratification. Not all violent offenders are psychopaths, but FBI investigations found that psychopathic offenders have more serious criminal histories and tend to be more chronically violent.